Hello, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him, and today I am facilitating the finale, the fourth of 4 sessions of a series of my own game Against the Dark Conspiracy, in which we are confronting the vampire conspiracy. This game was organized as part of the Gauntlet Online Gaming Community's monthly calendar, and I guess is part of what is a growing continuity around confronting the vampires. The conspiracy board, and we thank here one of our players, Will, for setting that up and doing the housekeeping on it, because it is growing and growing. We are playing, I'm not going to go into a long spiel about the safety tools, but we are playing with safety tools. We're playing within the Gauntlet's Code of Conduct, which we think is a good reason to come and play with us. And we're also playing with Lines and Veils and the X card. The open door is available. I will just ask the players just to refresh their memory as to which lines and veils are in place. But the kind of content warning here is that in this game, our heroes, the operators, the player characters, are not necessarily nice people. And so they may be nasty to other people, including other operators. So far, they've been particularly civilized, generally speaking, but you never know. Because in this finale, they have been building up to confronting a significant vampire, Count Simon Throndal, and we'll pick that up in play. So that is my brief introduction. Let me go to, because I lack imagination, I will start on the left. Sabine, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Dylan Herbst.
Hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I'm playing Dylan Herbst, who uses he, him pronouns. Dylan is a German national. He is, like we said before we started, mainly he gets people's trust and then betrays it. That's his thing. That's what he did when he was an agent. That's what he does now. And occasionally he shoots people.
And that's exactly what he did last time, when confronted by a pawn of the conspiracy, immediately turned it on their head, built on their misunderstanding, and tried to claim a bounty on another player character. All pretending, of course. Okay, moving along. Will, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Anton Zakpal.
Hi, my name is Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of my character, Anton Zakpal. Anton Zakpal is an occult assassin who was a weapon pointing in the wrong direction for far too long, and has decided to take down the conspiracy because that's what he thought he was doing the entire time.
Indeed so, betrayed by finding himself a cog in the conspiracy. Not a good way to carry on. And it's worth just saying to our thousands of viewers that we are in this series playtesting an extension to the base rules, which is giving occult power to player characters. And there is a new move called Harness the Dark, and we've seen that in action last time in one iteration. Today, we're going to playtest another version of that move just to see how it goes. So if you saw the last episode and think, hang on, I don't understand what they're doing with this, that's what's going on. Moving along, Anders, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Timothy Warrens.
Hello, I'm Anders. I use he, him. I'm playing Timothy Warrens, also he, him. Timothy is a defrocked priest, former agent of the Catholic Church's Men in Black. He started out by investigating saints and then moved on to darker things, and he figured out or suspected that things were not entirely on the up and up with the Catholic Church. Who knew? So now he's joined up with this sensible group of people instead to fight vampires.
I am muted, I beg your pardon. I will just remind Timothy that in a previous session, a previous episode, he met with his former bishop to discuss some of his concerns. And you are still subject to that bishop's obligation he placed on you to follow your faith, not practicality on occasion. In the last operation, Timothy decided that he would just step aside from his faith and deal practically with something. So that is still on you until you meet that obligation, you cannot go back to your bishop for solace. And finally, Puckett, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Mia Smith.
Hey there, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. Today I'll be playing Mia Smith, she, her. Mia is a hacker. She makes things. Occasionally they're useful things. Occasionally they're frightening things, sometimes both. And she shoots people in the face when necessary.
Yes, and I referred earlier to a pawn who thought Mia was somebody else. Dylan confirmed their view that Mia was somebody else. And in a quiet moment, Mia then shot that person in the face.
I mean, we were being attacked with zombies through the elevator. And so, I mean, a quiet moment is...
I quite understand.
Quiet for this game.
Exactly. We've broken the sequence, the game sequence a little bit, because we wanted to get some of the baseline stuff sorted out between sessions. So we've had a series of exchanges about the next operation, so that we've got some of that banked. But we do need to have a downtime, because we didn't have time for a downtime at the end of the last operation. We've had the debrief, but I am curious, because everyone in a peculiar symmetry, everyone is sitting on 3 stress. So let me go back to Dylan. Dylan, are you content with 3 stress, or is there something you want to do about it?
There's something I want to do about it. Yes, I'm sure. Let me check real quick what I can do secretly from the horror. I mean, I could do the whole indulge a vice thing, because I could say something new about my anchor. No, I don't want to say something new about my anchor. I don't really want to reveal some history, because that might put stress on other people, and I don't need that currently. So I think I'm going to indulge a vice. Yes.
Okay. Frame this.
Oh wait, sorry.
Oh, go on.
Just let me check. No, I think I'm going to behave badly. That's what I'm doing.
Just while you're thinking, I'm imagining that given the way that we've offline set up this operation, this is going to have to proceed fairly quickly and fairly locally to the last operation. So we're talking about a couple of days maybe passing, but just for clarity. So go ahead, Dylan. Frame the scene where we see you in behaving badly.
Yeah, well, this is a sort of seedy kind of bar, a bit run down, and we see Dylan chatting up a young guy who looks a bit worried, I guess, but interested. And I mean, Dylan can shower the socks off this young guy, and he will, more than the socks actually, and he will engage in some, well, rather meaningless gymnastics, let's say.
Relaxing gymnastics with a stranger. Okay.
Yes.
So reduce stress by 1, you get that for nothing, and then you just roll a d6 that you think is going to be nice to you.
And I think I have to find the roller first.
Oh, it's in the conspiracy and lines and veils tab.
There it is. Okay. I'm in the tab. Roller, where are you? Notes. No. Recommended dice roll.
Yeah.
I found it. No, I found it. Thank you. Power Acres Wood Government had thought. Okay, that's the name of our dice room for our millions of viewers. I'm rolling a die. I am using this one. I'm rolled a 1.
A 1. So on a 1, behave badly. Your inadequacy is clear to everyone. The other person pities you, and you are ashamed. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again.
Oh, okay.
So mark your expertise as cannot be used. Let me keep rolling across the character keeper. Let's go to Anton. You're also on 3 stress. What's your thinking, Anton? Content, or do you want to seek relief from the horror?
Sorry, I heard Anton and I thought you said Anders. Sorry, that was my problem. I just heard the first syllable. I think I'd like to seek relief from the horror. And I'd like to look for guidance, spiritual guidance, perhaps. And I can't think of who I might turn to for that. a mentor, a confidant, somebody else I trust, such as a priest.
Rather than a defrocked one.
Oh no, that's who I mean.
Um,
Entirely. Can I do that?
Are you content to be part of that, Timothy? If Anton comes to you
Yeah, sure.
wanting some sort of spiritual consolation?
Yeah, that sounds.
Let's have that scene.
Sounds fun.
Where does it take place? I mean, we do have a safe house in the vicinity. I've not bothered to define it because we haven't needed to get there yet. But
Yeah. You haven't had that much heat to play with, have you?
exactly.
Compared to normal.
You've been rolling 2 good dice, guys.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. I think I'd like to. I mean, where does Timothy? I imagine there's some sort of garden or something, like a nice, like outside area, or maybe a terrace or whatever, right? And does Timothy still pray?
Ooh, good question. I think he does so privately.
Maybe that's why he's on the roof, the flat roof at the back of the safe house, out of sight from everybody.
Maybe he is in the garden, but I think he's doing like weapon maintenance, like
Cleaning his
making sure
handgun,
his pistol is in good shape in case he needs to shoot something that isn't a ghost this time.
Yeah. And Tim Anton will take a gun from Timothy and start to clean it. Him just working both in silence, and then he's going to say, I have sent many things to their deaths, to their final deaths, but it has never been a release, a blessing before. I'm glad you were with me down there in the tunnels. What I would have had to do to get past that shade would have been darker.
I'm glad we could do it together.
Do you think that the rest of them can be anymore that they can? How do you know that they can be saved?
What I'm going to suggest at this point, you reduce your stress by 1 and roll the dice, because that will give Anders a sense of which direction Timothy will take the conversation.
That is a 4.
And they are an 4. Mark Heat and describe what Timothy asks of you, asks you to do to restore their belief in you, and how this draws the attention of the conspiracy, or what difficulty it will set up for the next operation. So Timothy, you're looking at the 4+ for guidance as to where this goes.
And I think what Anton's the advice, right, per se, the thing that's troubling him is this idea that these are things in darkness, but how much of them can be saved, and is it worth trying, because he's never tried before, and it certainly goes against everything the Pursuivants taught him about the dark.
And I think Tim, he doesn't look up from what he's doing. He just continues to disassemble his pistol and oil the various parts and whatever he needs to do. And salvation is, for salvation to occur, one must ask forgiveness. So and I believe this is true for these entities as well. The one we encountered said that it had done many terrible things, and I believe that was its way of asking for forgiveness.
I can sympathize with that.
So I think what the unspoken obligation here is to try to make the things he kills ask for forgiveness in some way.
I was thinking of it as be merciful to those who ask for forgiveness. Because it did ask us to release it as well. You know, it directly did ask. It said, "I've done things. I've done." You know, it didn't go like, "I've done lots of dark things," and kind of thing. You know. And I don't want to be put in a position where I have to. Someone gloats about the horrible things that they've done, and I'm go, "Yes, but I'm sorry. Are you sorry about it?"
To help me frame a situation where that might happen, there. It sounds like what you're saying is that if something asks, you need to give them a chance to ask.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
because that's a neatly encapsulated way to treat that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So write that down somewhere in case I forget it.
It's in the notes from the previous op.
Great. Fine. That's delightful. I like that. Let's keep going across to Timothy himself. Again, sitting on 3 stress. Timothy, are you prepared to sit there, or do you want to seek relief from the horror?
Yeah, Tim is going to go get drunk, I think. He's not going out. It's not with the intention of getting drunk, but I think because we're in Moravia, right?
Yes.
I think he finds some local restaurant, and he has a meal, and he has a drink, and he has another drink, and he has another drink, and he's thinking about the things he's been through, and all of that.
And there's a waitress who is, you know, we see her go talk to a manager. He says, "I think that guy's had too much to drink." You know, he just, what do I do? Reduce stress by 1, roll a dice that likes you, and let's see how this turns out.
Yeah. I will roll that. That's a 5.
A 5. 4+, mark heat and agree with control how this draws the conspiracy's attention to the team.
Well,
What do you end up doing that means that this is talked about and maybe gets back to our conspiracy?
I suspect he drinks a bit too much, so that he has to be escorted from the establishment, and he's probably drunkenly babbling about things he's done, and
Do you know I'm a Catholic priest? And I think that in the way these things happen, the waitress and her manager talk to somebody else. Someone else is in the restaurant, and they say, "Oh, that was embarrassing." And the manager says, "Yes, I'm sorry about that." Apparently, he's a priest who's here visiting. The name was familiar to me. I think it was Fade to Black. Finally, Mia, you are sitting on 3 stress. Do you want to seek relief from the horror?
Well, given kind of how this has gone so far, I want to spend some intel to reduce heat. So, I mean, I was planning on going out and reducing some stress. And I think, you know, if Sabine's okay with this, I think I actually went along to the bar with Dylan, but somebody wandered into the bar and was like, "God, that priest at the restaurant was a mess." And so I start hearing things, and it's like I start pulling it up and seeing like local chatter on Twitter or whatever the equivalent is, and it's like, God damn it.
A blurry piece of video footage showing Timothy being escorted out of a restaurant.
Well, it's even blurrier now. So
Spot on.
how much intel can I only spend? Am I limited to spending one intel to
No,
reduce
no.
heat?
You can spend intel 1 for 1. How much do you want to spend?
Well, let's see.
You've got 3.
We have Dylan on 3. We have Big Daddy Tim on 2. So I'm going, since everybody else has created this heat except me, I'm just going to spend 1 to reduce some of the heat because I want to save 1 to reduce stress during the mission. And can I spend intel during the mission?
You'll see on the heat and intel you'll see what you can do.
Sure.
In different stages of the game. So basically, once the operation starts, the only thing intel is good for is reducing stress.
Right. All right. So
That's not technically true.
Oh, sorry, you're quite right. At any time during play, yes. You could recover your expertise or do some more definition around supernaturals. But you can't reduce heat.
Okay. Because I was thinking about finding out about more deterrence.
What my suggestion is, let's deal with stress first.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you're going to seek relief from the horror, that might influence what you then might want to do with your intel.
So in that case, Sabine, is it okay if Mia went along with Dylan to the bar? Okay.
Or wouldn't be the first time.
Indeed, it would not be the first time. Did this rejection happen kind of publicly? This guy turning you down?
Yeah, I guess maybe it went ugly because I might yet do another seek relief from the horror by punching him out, because that is a tried and true method for Dylan, right? Find a guy.
I think we have to deal with that first then.
Well, I was just going to say, like, perhaps while he was walking away, I stuck my foot out, tripped him, and said, "Oops!" Like it's intent. Like, oh, I'm saying this was a mistake. Anyone seeing this or experiencing it clearly knows it was intentional.
Okay, and then that would leave Dylan the opportunity to come up and kick him in the ribs. So let's have Mia roll to behave badly. Reduce stress by 1, roll the dice, let's see what happens.
Behaving badly is what I do best. Alrighty, so there's the stress track. I'll roll this nice die right here. And that's a 3.
3. Your inadequacy is clear to everyone. People are laughing at both of you now. The other person pities you. He looks up at you and says, "Really? Jeez." And you are ashamed. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again. Dylan, just before we leave this little vignette, what are you tempted to do, if anything?
I mean, I still want to seek some relief from the horror by, well,
Same.
In this case, I mean, come on, we're in the situation right here. This guy is laughing at my friend over there.
Oh, and you.
Oh, and me. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
because he's connected the two events.
Yeah.
Mia made it obvious.
Yeah, that was not very truly subtle, right? Well, okay, then I'll just, take his head and punch it into a table or something.
As he puts an arm on the table and gets up, let's have you reduce stress by another 1 and roll a d6 that is hopefully friendlier to you.
Oh, well,
the nice thing is you can only lose access to your expertise 1.
Right, I noticed that. So it's a 4 though. It's not. I'm not. 4
and they are NPC. Mark Heat.
Yes, sorry.
Thanks, guys. This is going terribly well.
Yeah.
Mark Heat and agree with Control how this comes to the conspiracy's attention. The only thing that's taking the drunken priest off social media in the vicinity is fight at bar and dance club. Mia, do you want to seek relief from the horror anymore?
Oh, hell yeah.
Do you want
This
to join
just turned
in?
into a bar fight.
Okay.
This is my favorite kind of seeking relief from the horror.
This is trending all across Eastern Czechoslovakia now. So reduce stress by 1 and roll a d6.
All right, there's reduced stress. Through that tab. Let's see what we got here. That's a 4.
2 is a 4. I will mark heat. Despite your best efforts, we just got into the capture part of the heat track.
Can we spend intel to reduce that?
Well, we'll come to that in a moment.
Yes.
So has everyone? I'll go back round to check. Dylan, you're now on 1 stress. Expertise cannot be used. Anton, you're still on 2 stress. Do you want to do any other relaxing? Because the team's doing really well while you and Timothy have been having a quiet chat in the garden.
Yeah. I think I kind of want to do more of the reveal history about each other, but I can do that in the game, can't I? It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I honestly don't think I think if I was to be involved in a bar fight, I'd probably kill the people involved. So let's not do that.
Okay. And Timothy, you're on 2 stress. Do you want to have another crack at seek relief from the horror? Or you could, right, you're a new player of the game. You've seen the way this can go. So fine. So dealt with seek relief from the horror. Is there anyone who wants to spend any more intel?
Yeah, I should probably spend some intel to reduce the heat.
To make good.
Yeah.
Me too. I think I should spend 1 intel to reduce heat some more.
Okay, I'll deal with the heat. You deal with the intel. So that's
Got
1
it.
from.
Okay.
Yeah. So that reduces from 2. That pushes heat. So these, I think, cut to a darkened room where a sysop kind of looks up and says, there's all kinds of stuff trending in the vicinity of the master. What should I do about that? And his supervisor looks at this and says, no, it just looks like kids. Just looks like a kid. Don't worry about it. What about the old guy in the restaurant? Don't worry about it. It's just, it happens all the time in these places. Fine. So they are still now only alarmed. Is there anyone who wants to spend any intel on anything else?
I'd like to see if there's another extreme deterrent for the vampire.
Okay.
For Throndal.
Let me see what I've written down for Throndal.
Or a
Yes.
vulnerability, I should say.
Yeah. So let's have a look where we are at the moment. So you could indeed define another vulnerability. And I think the one I'm inclined to offer you is precise strike to the heart. And I just want to remind you that the rules, these are not one-shot kills. You have to drive the vampire's stress down before you can then finally finish them. But it does give you some options on how you can finish them. Okay. So yeah, that's the other vulnerability that I can offer you, which drains your intel. Timothy is still sitting on 2 intel, and so is Dylan. Timothy, do you want to spend any more intel?
I could spend another point. I'm not sure what we need.
I mean, just for our many listeners, we know that Throndal is attracted to human blood and obeys his vampire sire. We know he is deterred by sunlight and fire. He is vulnerable to extreme deterrence, i.e. extreme exposure to fire. And now we know that a precise strike at his heart would be another helpful option. So you could go around to compulsions again,
Yeah,
Or you
because
could
we
go to
can't
powers.
reveal another vulnerability until we go the whole way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Or
I'll
you can
go.
go to powers.
Yeah, that's what I was. I think I'll go for powers. I'll spend a point on that.
Okay.
Mechanically speaking, I have been wondering, powers is great to know what you might be up against, right? But it doesn't put you any closer to finding a way to exploit that particularly, right? Just it doesn't have a link to compulsion, deterrence, vulnerabilities in the same way, correct?
No,
Okay,
no.
just to clarify, yeah.
Powers is one thing. The other three are all weaknesses that you build. Yeah. So a power, Timothy?
Yeah.
Right, unmark that, and I will give you the one I think you should be most worried about, I suppose, which is great speed. So far, we know he regenerates. He has inhuman senses. He can track by blood. He flies. And I'll be honest with you, the implication is he flies by throwing himself into the air and turning into a bunch of bats. He has great strength. He resists feral urges. You know, he's had 200 years to get used to the idea that he has some control over himself. Teeth and claws is the standard attack for any supernatural. And we now have shape change bats and great speed. Okay. Anybody else? I think there's still a couple of intel if we want to drain them all the way down. Dylan, you're sitting on 2.
Yeah, I'm sitting on 2. I'm spending another 1 for, let's see, I think I want to know. Deterrent and vulnerability is, I'll go for another deterrent, I think. Yeah.
Okay, I will tell you for nothing because I'm feeling, sorry, you have to go compulsion first. You have to, there has to be,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Then I'll go compulsion.
I'm feeling friendly, so I'll tell you that those are his only compulsions.
Oh, okay.
So would you like a deterrent?
Do I have to spend another point of intel for that?
No, I gave you the no compulsion because I'm just feeling generous.
Okay. Yes, if you're feeling generous, then I'll take the thingy deterrent.
And sorry to mechanically ask again, if you
Go on.
run out of compulsions in this sense, would you normally expect the player to spend a point of intel to confirm that there are no more compulsions? Okay, cool.
Yeah. And again, because I'm feeling friendly, I'm going to tell you that he has no other deterrents either.
Okay, that is
So would you like to spend your
actually.
intel for another vulnerability or a power?
Sure.
Which one?
Vulnerability, even if he doesn't have one, but I will go for that because
I will give you.
I feel we are already up against a lot of power here.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I have other things written down. You just don't know about them.
Yeah, I know.
He is vulnerable to a green oak stake.
Oh, that is good to know. That is something we should acquire before.
Don't worry about that. Remember, you can spend load as long as you can come up with a link.
Just for the fictional positioning, that's something that you'd like to say, oh, of course I'm lugging around the green oak stake. If you had no idea, that wouldn't make sense. But if you know, you can say, hey, but we knew this. We have 3,000 tons of it. Load it into a ballista. We'll backstab him with that.
Well, there are rules in the book for how you could weaponize a deterrent. So, you know, I just put that on the table. When the time comes for you to invent on the Hoofmere the stake firing crossbow, just let me know and we'll engage with the rules. So that is our picture. We have an outline for the operation. We know a lot now about Simon Throndal and his background. We now will move. I'm finished with downtime unless somebody stops me.
Do I need to make stuff here or can we just say that I made it?
It will be flashback to making.
Okay.
And you will know how well you made it when it works or not. In briefing. So we're in the briefing phase. I suppose what I need to know now, Sabine, we've had conversation off screen, so to speak, about the fact that you are looking to set up some kind of meeting with Throndal, aren't you?
Yeah, that was the basis of the whole thing, that we set up a meeting and then maybe get him into an ambush where he thinks he knows what the trap is, and the trap is something totally different.
So you're committing not to an investigation scene, but instead to a preparatory scene to get the fictional positioning of that meeting. Okay, so we know that we don't need to worry about you for investigation. Currently, what we know, we have a draft operational objective of take Count Simon Throndal off the board. I think I know what that means, because I looked at last week's wishes and they say kill Throndal, kill Throndal. So can I for the moment make that destroy, because he's already dead, of course. Destroy Count Simon Throndal. That seems to me to be a good starting point. We know that the target, therefore, is Simon Throndal. We know already from some discussion we've had that the where that this operation is going to go down is in a village deep in Throndal's private estate, about 100 square kilometers of coniferous forest, 30k from the nearest large habitation. There he maintains a hunting lodge and the Throndal family church and mausoleum. That just seemed too atmospheric a possibility not to be true. Opposition, you are expecting to encounter a greatly supernatural, said 200-year-old vampire. And why? What are they seem to be doing? Throndal will be there because he is seeking even greater safety from mortal threats, i.e. you and what you know, or whatever Dylan convinces him he should be worried about. Yeah? So we know Dylan's going to have a prep scene before we kick off. I'm going to run around each of you just to see whether you want an investigation scene or whether you want the prep scene as well. That would give you some fictional positioning. But as you can take for granted that that preparation scene will lead to a meeting between Dylan and Throndal at least. Yeah? The quality of that preparatory role will determine whether they are entirely sucked into the fiction, whether they are suspicious, or whether in fact they know that it's a fiction. Okay, so let's go round to Anton. Investigate or prepare?
Investigate, because I notice the compulsion of obey vampire creator / sire. Now, one big question I've been wondering the entire time is, what is the root of Throndal's thing? Because he was a vampire pre the Dracula story, wasn't he? Because
he was.
Yeah, when the I'm not even going to try and pronounce that German name. Like the one that was spelt wrong in the NBA books.
Unternamen Brown.
Unternamen Brown. There we go. Yes.
Unternehmen.
Unternehmen. Thank you.
There we go.
Unternehmen Brown.
Yeah. So he was already a vampire when he sort of set them at the British, essentially, right, and their target. So yeah, Anton is going to he's going to call upon the esoteric texts and lore and knowledge, and now that he knows this about Throndal's life movements and everything, try and trace back a bloodline.
Okay, so let's have you roll to investigate using lore, because it fills in as research for this kind of mundane lore. Going to the truly dark web. So you're rolling with expertise, stress dice if you'd want it.
That is just a 3.
Oh, so that is the bare information you need. Oh gosh.
I'll spend my expertise.
How do you mean?
Well, I have law as expertise because I am a librarian.
Oh, you market specialist. Okay, yeah, to improve it. Okay, so the bare I can give you is that you can find hints of this in the Throndal files, and other people confirm bits and pieces of it. The suggestion is that he was turned while traveling as a young man in the East. It appears he went on some kind of world tour as a young man in the early mid 1800s and was turned by the time he came back. So the assumption is it happened in the East. That's
when we
basic.
say the East, I may not be entirely clear on what that would have meant to that particular time, you know.
Exactly. I mean, it might well be in the files as the Orient.
The Orient.
But certainly we're talking about the Holy Land and points eastwards.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
not Eastern Europe is very much what I want
yes,
to.
I definitely wanted to clarify. Do you mean China or do you mean Russia? Do you know?
I think we're talking about somewhere in the Middle East. We're talking about somewhere in India, somewhere maybe in the Far East. I think they would say the Far East if they meant the Far East or the Orient. So I think it's India or the Middle East.
Middle East to SE Asia, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But because you've upped the ante, you also get to ask me a question.
He was turned whilst traveling as a young man in the East. I'd like to flesh that out a bit more with that question. And, you know, directly ask, was perhaps this travel a pilgrimage?
No, you could narrow it down to India, and or maybe that point where what might then have been called Persia, conceivably. Persia or North India was where he ended up.
Okay.
And that's where he came back from. And I will tell you that the story goes that it was a woman.
Okay, Persia, India. It's a shame that our con man isn't a con woman in this case.
I apologize for my failings, Anton. I can try to be charming to him. After 200 years, he might be a bit more flexible than you'd expect.
It's true. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll admit that I was trying to work towards some way of weaponizing our dear priest against a Christian vampire who had got turned whilst on a pilgrimage.
I'm sorry. No, I have a very clear picture.
Yeah, no. I mean, I suppose
sire.
In the case of it would be good sometimes to know exactly when you've got clear pictures, because then I might have just asked you, well, what more can you tell me for my one question, rather than phrase a question.
I'd have ended up telling you a woman, a Persian or North Indian woman. The next question might have given you more detail.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's one investigation down. Timothy, do you want to give yourself some fictional positioning at the start of this op, or do you want to do an bit of investigating?
This is perhaps a mechanical question, but we don't need to worry about him not showing up, like sending some minions or something.
I mean, if Dylan does really badly in the preparatory role, then anything could happen, but there will be a meeting.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Then I think I want to work towards limiting interference by his minions, his supporters, his employees, whatever he could bring to bear.
Okay, so would it therefore be helpful to know more about what goes on in this village, or so you at least knew what you were dealing with, or have you got a specific kind of setup you've got in mind that would deliver that?
Are we doing this at the hunting lodge?
I've been broadly, I think probably if Dylan's role goes very well, you'll be able to say where and when. If it's mediocre, you'll be able to say where or when. And if it goes badly, he'll tell you where and when. Cool. Yeah, that's what I've got in my mind.
Yeah.
So we know the climax is going to take place in that village. But which bit of it, time will tell.
Yeah, I guess it's investigation then.
Okay. Is there something on the Operation 3 tab that you want to flesh out some more? And if so, how will you frame a scene to do that?
Sorry, I didn't catch the first bit.
Is there a particular bit of this? So is it details of the village, or is it details of the opposition that you want to you want to try and flesh out, or
Opposition.
Opposition. Okay. So how are you going to do that, Timothy? What do we see you doing in order to get a handle on that?
If it's the village we're interested in, then I think,
Do you want to go over the fence around this 100 square kilometers of coniferous forest and, you know, belly crawl to get a view of the village? As long as you don't go into the village, I won't mark heat.
yeah, I think he'll try to find, he'll go out hiking, I guess, hiking in the forest and try to find some spots where he can watch what's going on. He's got his binoculars with him. He can like see if there's anything that seems suspicious, that sort of thing.
So I think that plays to your surveillance expertise. So let's have you roll to investigate with expertise. By all means, add the stress dice if you'd like to.
I'm not going to do that, or am I? It's only if the stress die is the highest that stress
Equal to
can-
or higher than.
Sorry?
If it's equal to or higher than any other dice in the pool,
Right,
stress will
right.
automatically go up. If any of them roll a 6, if the other ones roll a 6, then there's a chance you will roll for stress, but that's a, you know, that's a tiny
Yeah.
possibility.
Sure, I'll use the stress die.
Okay,
That's a
That's
5, and
fine.
it's not on the stress die.
which is all good then. So you get the basic information. The basic information is that you don't see a lot of Throndal from your observation, but you see that he is always accompanied by a blonde woman who tends to carry an umbrella if he's out during the day. But the fact is, because the forest is so dense in this vicinity, actually, even on a quite bright day, the amount of shade is pretty significant. So I guess I'm telling you 2 things here. One, there is plenty of shade in the village, and surprise, surprise, that they planted trees. And 2, he is accompanied by a blonde woman who looks capable. I'll say no more than that. Yeah. And you can have that for nothing. But for a 5, you can also ask me a question or ask me to reveal something else along that line.
Well, I want to find out more about that woman.
Okay. I think it is clear that she is a bodyguard. And, you know, I think we probably cut to the view through your telescope as you focus in on her. And she bears some resemblance to Ilishka Dimitrova,
Who was a blood magician, right?
who is a blood mage. And this woman is facially similar, different, but there are some similarities. When I show you a picture of her later, she won't look anything like that, but it's the thought that counts.
Yeah. Cool. I
Okay.
guess that's it then.
So you can add to the bit of information on the opposition. You can add that he is accompanied everywhere you see him. This woman is along. So she is a very capable bodyguard, no question about that. And she is probably a Dimitrova. And then we come to Mia. Mia, preparatory later or investigate now?
I think I'm going to prep later.
Okay. Do you want to tell me what you're thinking of, just so I can say, actually, I don't think you need to do that, or are you content?
What are the odds of starting a forest fire?
I don't know. It's a coniferous forest in eastern Czechoslovakia. I'd have thought it's not going to be easy. You're going to need a significant amount of accelerant, I would have thought.
What time of year is it?
Interesting question. I mean, so far, I don't think anything has given us a guide on that. Apart from, I think it got to be dusk quite after close of play at the hospital, when you pulled up at your lockup garage. So I'm going to say that it is autumn. I don't think it's high summer. I'm not sure he'd agree to meet you there in high summer.
Yeah, but once a forest like that is burning, it's not going to stop. Someone should get us a helicopter. I'm serious. I'm not and don't intend to die in a forest fire. That's a terrible way to go, I think.
The joy of contacts.
Yeah,
but
right.
I suppose it's how Mia's expertise is going to play into a preparatory scene around that, and whether you know, if you've got a clear picture in your head of what you're looking for. But remember that preparatory scene will give you fictional position to be somewhere ready to do something. Yeah. So that could place you in the forest outside the village. And with a call and a contact or whatever else, you might have sufficient accelerant. But Dylan is going to be in a meeting with Throndal.
Now, Sabine, I see on side chat that you suggested investigating the village. Did we already take care of that to your liking, or?
I think no, I don't know. I mean, I'd like more intel on the village, actually.
Okay.
The village itself, because we need to have some idea of the locations where we can set our trap, because I need to go in there and say, hey, they're there, they're waiting for you, and it's totally a trap. And if I don't know where that is, that could seriously hamper my my performance, I think.
I think that's fair.
In that case, instead of looking into setting a forest fire, which would destroy a forest that is who knows how many decades or centuries old, I'll look into investigating the village, seeing what kind of Dylan or intel I can get for Dylan.
Okay, I think this is probably it seems to me that Dylan wants some idea of layout and where places are.
Probably like, exfil routes,
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, where can we set up traps? Where's plausible? Where can we actually set up the traps that aren't going to be visible? How do we get out of here? So
let's start with what's the layout like? So this starts at Google Earth and works outwards from there, probably. So I think that's probably you're looking for any satellite imagery, any details of the layout of the place that would allow you then to make some reasonable conclusions about where you want to set up shop.
I still have friends at the CIA.
Exactly. So let's have you roll with your hacking expertise.
My expertise isn't available.
Oh, then in that case, you're just rolling the central dice. Add the stress dice if you'd like it.
I absolutely want that stress die.
Oh, that's okay. 4. That's a 4. So the basic information, you have the basic layout and village stroke hamlet. This is a couple of dozen buildings, not a couple of hundred buildings. Mm-hmm. And the sense you get from the way they're laid out is that this is an old village that related to that hunting lodge long ago, and that really it's been kind of just kept from development. This is on private land. Throndal's not allowing this to be developed. So I think we're talking about maybe a dozen or so village houses. Is there a particular question you want to ask me, or do you want me to give you more detail on the layout?
Well, first, Dylan, is there other information that you want on this village before I ask a question?
I think we need to set the trap, not in the village. So no, go ahead and let's see what you can think of. Something. Maybe is there a church?
There is the Throndal family church and mausoleum, a single building, probably used more as a mausoleum conceivably than it is as a church.
So I want to do the terribly incompetent and blatantly obvious thing of kind of like, just to kind of set things up for Dylan. I want to be seen walking around, but as I'm walking around.
Now, hang on. You have a single investigative scene, which has started with you trying to find
Google
out
Earth.
Satellite imagery from the CIA. So you have to build on that one, I'm afraid. It's a question that could fictionally come out of that scene.
Okay. Which means I could not detect how many people in the village are theoretically thralls of Throndals.
No. You know, a population, assuming standard family sizes, you're talking about a population of maybe 50 to 100 people.
Okay. In that case, I want to know where the best place to set the trap for Throndal is. Not the most obvious place, the place where he'd expect it, but the place where he'd be most exposed and vulnerable.
Okay, what can I tell you about that? I think what I will let you do is, I'm not, because it would be silly for me to say the best place to have an ambush is at X, because circumstances may mean that X ends up on the other side of the village.
Sure.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to say that you have identified some potential ambush sites.
Sure.
And assuming the ambush goes to plan, those of you not involved in the conversation with Throndal could well be in whichever one Dylan ends up convincing him to go to.
Okay.
Yeah?
Works for me.
So you have the layout of the village and several potential ambush sites. Yeah? Okay. We are 5 minutes past the hour and we've just finished an investigation. We seem very logical here to take a break. So I'm going to suggest that we are back at the table at 1:15. We'll take a long one this first time. I'll see you at 1:15 the hour. We're back from our break. We have the setup. We know that Dylan is going to have a meeting at this village with Count Simon Throndal. But before we do that, I think I need to know where everyone else is. So for instance, is Dylan doing this alone or is someone going with them? And if you're not going with Dylan, where are you relative to the village? You can't be in it, you will have to enter it, but I'm curious what your entry vector is. Let's go left to right. Well, let's start with Dylan. Dylan, you know, do you want to do this alone? Or is the plan in your mind requiring somebody else riding shotgun?
Oh, no, I'm betraying them. I can't have someone of them riding shotgun. That doesn't make any sense also. I don't know how good they are at lying and pretending. So I'd rather do this by myself.
Okay. So Anton, where do you imagine you are as we open the operation relative to the village?
Somewhere that's good to get to where Dylan's going to.
Okay, so within running distance of Dylan's location once we've sorted that out.
I mean, if I call in a contact and say that we're all on a a low-flying aeroplane ready to parachute out, does that work? I mean,
well, I mean, if that's what you're interested in doing.
I don't know. It does feel a bit. It doesn't feel necessary in this case. It's not a hardened target, is it? It's a village that you could, by all appearances, just walk straight into.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go through. You'd have to have got over the kind of fence that surrounds the 100 square kilometers. But you know, there's plenty of fence. So I'm assuming. I mean, Timothy got in and was able to observe the village. So I suppose what I'm trying to tease out here is, given that Dylan has expressed a view of trying to convince Throndal to go to one of these locations where he might be ambushable.
Mm-hmm. I am near one of those locations, ready to make my intrusion into said location.
Fine. Timothy, what about you? Are you with Anton, or are you separate from him but focused on this same ambush site, one of the ambush sites that we've worked out?
Yeah, I think separate but focused on the same site to cover more approaches, basically.
Okay, and Mia, what about you? Where are you relative to the village?
We don't have a van, do we?
You can have a van. A van is more likely to have been noticed coming in through one of the gates or through the fence than Anton and Timothy just out for a walk. Particularly as I'm guessing that Timothy will have helped Anton get in using that intrusion.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm not going to roll for that.
Can I have boosted a van that would not look terribly out of place there, like, a food services van of some sort or delivery van?
I think if you'd had some kind of investigation that gave you fictional positioning for that,
Right.
but
Okay.
I think I'm struggling a bit because that sounds like a preparatory to me. Not if you want to be at the gate and you're going to drive through the fence in a delivery van, that's fine by me.
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. So you are further away. What that means?
Yes.
Okay, but
But
you're in a
I'm
van.
also in a van, which
Hey.
can get there pretty quickly.
You're in a van. Gee whiz. Before I go to Dylan then for the preparatory scene, which kicks this all off, can I just check in terms of load? So Dylan, are you being non-threatening with light load? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, I
I
picked
think
on you when you're eating. I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm eating while you're picking on me. I apologize. No, I'm going light loaded.
Fine. What about Anton?
The downside to being heavy loaded is people will notice me right if they see me.
And you're slower.
I'm slow. I can't run away from things
as quickly. Yeah.
As quickly. I'm heavy loaded. I mean, running away indicates failure, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know why I wrote a flee for your life move. So let's move along to Timothy. Timothy, light, medium, or heavy?
Well, how visible is medium? What does that entail?
Okay, I mean, so if you were going to, let's do it in terms of business meetings. You're going to a business meeting and you have a briefcase. That's light loaded. You're going to a briefcase, you're going to a meeting, but you have a briefcase and one of those big bulky flight bags. People go, I wonder why he needs that flight bag for this business meeting. Yeah. Heavy loaded is armed for bear. So, you are tactical webbing. You are an operator out to do dangerous stuff.
Well, medium seems like it's sensible.
Okay, so a rucksack of that makes it look like well, why would he need that in the village kind of thing?
I think he's wearing like some hiking boots and that sort of thing so that he can pretend that he's a hiker.
If the worst comes to the worst. Anton, I'm just curious, are you trying for any kind of cover or is this full black ops?
I think for Anton, it's full black ops, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, Mia, were anyone to stop the van and ask, what would they see?
Well, I mean, there's obviously a bunch of stuff in there. I mean, there's crates, there's a bunch of probably some fruits that I tossed or vegetables I tossed on top. What's this computer? Well, that's just so I can keep my delivery schedule straight. But there's a lot of stuff in there.
Okay.
So I'm heavy loaded.
Heavy loaded. And if you leave the van, I will ask you, do you take heavy loaded with you or do you leave some behind? Yeah?
Oh, it's going to be heavy loaded all the way.
No, I mean, if you get out of the van.
Yes, I'm sure I'll get out of the van and it will still be a heavy load.
I'm with you. Okay. You have comms. You have, what you need. But you can mark anything you like when you come, when it matters. I think we reached the point last time where no one had yet marked the safe house benefit. I think you went to a fixer on both occasions you needed C4, unless I'm mistaken.
No, I think, didn't we?
Oh, you went to the fixer once and then went
C4, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I've marked tech equipment and explosives as the safe house benefit. So anything of that kind is available to you. Heavy weapons, automatic weapons, you will have to call on a contact. and I'm just inclined to make this interesting for you, because I'm going to burn some heat. Mia, as you are driving up this forest track towards the village, your telephone beeps. Do you answer it, or do you wait to hear the message?
Always look at it.
It's from Jürgen Dorfman, your fixer contact.
I will check that.
And it's a message saying, "What the fuck have you done, Mia? There are people crawling all over me and my business. Don't call me." And I am blowing Jürgen Dorfman's cover. So he's not available to you. You can't call on any contacts during this operation, and none of the team can call on a fixer because Jürgen puts the word out.
Whoops.
Because I'm not going to get to capture, so I might as well burn my alarm. Dylan, you know, the audience has been waiting for this. You know, the build-up has been significant through all the prep. So what do we see Dylan doing in this preparatory scene, and how does he set it up?
I think he has kept contact with Throndal via Dimitrova's phone, right? He had that. He puts the SIM card in at odd moments, and he has hinted at the fact that he might not be very happy with his current situation, right? That he might look for somebody to be a friendly benefactor of a maybe soon to be ex-operative.
I have to go split screen here, because I think that when his phone rings, we see him in a subterranean crypt, and laid out on a slab in front of him are Ilishka's Dimitrova's remains. We see him, and we can see another figure. Again, we last time we saw very elegant Italian shoes and a very nice pair of heels. And I think that's what we see as we then move up and we see Ilishka Dimitrova's remains on the body, on the slab. And he's holding her hand. And he says, "My dear Ilishka, you served me well. And I'm sure, as your family always has, you will continue to do so." And then the phone rings. And he looks at the phone. And what do you actually say to him?
I don't say anything. It's a text.
It's a text message.
It's text message. I sent him a text after the last time, like, if you like a hat, let me know. But I will follow that up with a, I wasn't joking. And then later,
and then I think we'll now get a look at Ilishka's cousin Vera. I did have a picture for her, but I can't now find it. I should have looked that up in the break. And Vera flips open an iPad and is just scrolling through CCTV. There's the clip of you talking to Ilishka, offering to hand Mia over. And you know, and she's leafing through that, and she kind of sends it to his phone. And he will text you a picture with a question mark, and it's a picture of you and Mia in her hoodie, so it's not entirely certain who's in there, because of course he wasn't there. We know what Ilishka thought. But it does look like you are bringing someone as a prisoner. And it's a question mark. You?
I will text back and say something like, caught in the middle in the off.
What? Question mark.
And I'm texting back, they're after you, and they have powers. I don't.
Who? Question mark. Where? Question mark. When? Question mark.
I'll send back not over the phone. And the second text, need assurances.
Discuss question mark.
Yeah, and I expect when, where.
So I think this is where we need to engage the mechanic to see how
Yeah.
well this deception, how well this setup goes.
Mhm.
So look, you are very good at pretending to be people, even online. So you
Yes.
are with expertise. Oh, it
I
can't be
cannot,
used.
but I can use my last expertise, right? My last intel to.
You can,
will-
because we
I
are
will
now
do
in
that.
the operation.
I feel that is worth that is worth it.
Fine.
It's available, so I can use
So,
that die.
so expertise is in play. Would you like to add your stress dice to improve your chance of success?
Yes, I want to add that. So I'm rolling, right?
You are.
Let's see how that goes.
Oh, it's a
Oh, there's a
6.
6 on the expertise.
And it's not even on stress. So 6, this goes perfectly.
Mhm.
Hook, line, and sinker. You get to say where. We know it's going to be in the village, but where in the village? And you get to say when.
Okay.
And that will give the rest of us a sense of what time of day it is.
Mhm. I don't think I would meet him during the day, because that would be. I want
Impolite.
something from him, right? I'm pretending to want something from him, so I will set it during the night. Maybe not at midnight or something that is cliched.
Can I suggest pre-dawn?
Yes, that was my thinking, pre-dawn. So yeah, so my thinking is that the meeting itself, that will be pre-dawn. And where, I think,
In the open, in the village, in the hunting lodge, in the mausoleum, and if in the mausoleum, upstairs in the church or downstairs in the crypt.
I think in the hunting lodge, that sounds like a place. But look, I want something from him, but I don't want to be in a church for that, and I don't want to be in a mausoleum. Hunting lodge seems like we could have a civilized conversation between gentlemen there, right?
Far be it for me to say, you want to be in the hunting lodge with Simon Throndal? I have no objection.
I think I do. I think I do.
So we know the setup, yeah, and we know it went perfectly.
Yeah.
What additional benefit do you want for that 6? You know, you've got to say where and when. You get an extra benefit.
I want to be on comms without anybody noticing.
The conceit is you've always got secure comms.
Okay.
So they can hear what you say, what he says, or what people around you say.
Oh, okay.
Likewise, you can hear them.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering about the whole heat thing, that you might use that to say, oh, but you have a earpiece or something, and I wanted to avoid that.
No.
Okay.
You know, if something in the fiction happens that makes that obvious, then we'll deal with it. But in terms of these are the best you can buy.
Okay, additional benefit. Huh. I think when we arrive, I will notice. I mean, we know he has this female bodyguard, but I will notice what other security he might have in place.
Okay. Well, look. I mean, the benefit could be that it's only her that he meets you with. You demand some security in terms of just you and one other person.
Right now, I don't want to attack him. I don't care. I want to see his security, actually.
Okay.
Because if this comes to a confrontation, I'm toast. Basically, no matter how many people there are, I can't fight him and his bodyguard on my own. No.
Okay. And are you driving there? I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm driving a rental car that is bland. Let's say it's bland.
Okay. And so I think cut to the village. It's nighttime. Maybe there is a distant glow in the east. And you drive into the village. The village is quiet, appears deserted. No lights are on. You drive past this imposing church with, I guess it's going to be a Catholic church for that part of the world, I think. And you drive through the village and you can see the hunting lodge. I put something in the earlier chat that just shows this very rustic looking, walled, has a gate. The gate is manned, mundane paramilitary pawns. So if somebody wants to write that into the opposition, that will help me be reminded they're there. He has a detail of well-armed paramilitary pawns there all the time. I have thought of a question I didn't ask. I think I know the answer. Anton, I'm guessing you're keeping that intel for emergency, not because you wanted to define an obstacle, and I forgot to ask.
Sorry, you were asking if we want to define an obstacle with
Yeah,
an
you've
with an
got
intel.
one intel.
No, it's fine.
I didn't think so. Anders, what about you? Do you want to define an obstacle for Timothy to face, or do you want that intel in hand?
I want to keep my intel.
Fine. Okay. So that all goes perfectly. But Dylan, I think you did roll a 6, didn't you?
Yes, I did roll a 6.
And 6 brings you intel, but it also requires you to roll for stress.
Oh, it does require me to roll for it. I mean, okay, it's hard. I doubt that I won't go up because I've at 1 stress, and yes, I go up at 2, but fine. Yeah.
Because you are literally entering the lair of the monster. Yeah. This is clambering up the hillside and going bravely into the cave that holds a red dragon. This is incredibly brave and not a little stressful. And so you have your meeting. The fictional position is met. He meets you in you're taken in. He has staff. It's unclear to you, I think, those staff are probably not just butlers, footmen, and maids. They are probably also armed pawns. Though not paramilitary equipped, just to be on the, and you're escorted into a very grand dining room. And inevitably there's a long table. And there is breakfast laid out at one end of the table. And it's a very, there's fresh fruit, fresh exotic fruit. It's a beautifully prepared breakfast for you to take your pick from. And he sat at the other side with only a glass of red wine in front of him.
Of course.
And he says, what do I call you?
You can call, I need to give him a false name, right? You can call me Carl.
Carl, please sit down.
Yes.
His bodyguard is standing just at his shoulder.
Yes, I will appear to be nervous, which is not all of it an act, but I will also appear to try not to show it. And I will take some of this breakfast stuff, right, because I'm cool. And I'm sitting down. And I say, well, Mr. Throndal, you keep a very nice breakfast table.
I found the picture of Vera Dimitrova.
Oh, wow, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so we can put a face to the name. And Throndal says, please eat. Let us talk. And it's almost like he's very carefully put plenty of distance between you and him along this long table. You're probably 20 feet, 30 feet, 20 feet away from him.
Okay.
And he says, I understand that you believe I may be in danger and that you are prepared to help me.
There are some people that I made the acquaintance of that are not friends of yours, and that they are planning something. They don't fully trust me.
And I think at that point, you notice there's an iPad with the top down just beside your place setting. And he nods to Vera, and Vera just does something with her phone, and it just pings. He says, please examine the pictures. Is that one of them? And
who
he
is it?
shows you the picture of you with kind of Mia's hand up her back.
Yeah, she's with them. Not sure how high up, really. It's hard to say. Hard to tell.
Is her name Yelena?
I don't think so. I've never heard her called that, but I'm sure she's using a fake name.
Because that's the name that Ilishka assumed, I think, that this was Yelena, because they thought they'd set a trap for somebody else. And she is a danger to me.
She and the people she rolls with, yes. This is an organization. I don't know how big it is, but they are well equipped. They have lots of resources.
We heard an interrogator questioning Rajesh in scene 1, right at the very beginning, where he was talking about, tell me about the network. How are they going to help you? And so I think the conspiracy believes there is a network out there to which you belong, or people belong. Let me cut at that point.
Yeah.
Mia, let's have you, let's see how your drive towards the village is going, shall we? Do you want to call on a contact to have got a well-disguised van, or are you just hoping people don't notice?
I'll burn a contact for that.
Fine. Oh, no, you can't, because I've blown one of your contacts, so you can't. I'm sorry. You just will be rolling without expertise then. Stress dice if you want it, to see whether anyone notices a strange van.
Oh dear. Well, with any luck, I'll be able to increase. I'm going to be rolling stress every single time. So stress dice is higher.
So success, nobody bothers you. But stress does go up by 1 because it's stressful, isn't it? Let's face it. So you are approaching the village.
And I can use my expertise again.
To be there at the time that Dylan needs you to be there.
Yep.
Anton, what about you? You're hearing this conversation on your comms. Sitting tight or doing anything else?
Sitting tight. I have faith that Dylan's going to deliver the target to the site.
And what about you, Timothy?
These paramilitary goons. Can I see any of them? Do we?
Happy to have you able to look at them. Yeah. They're in sight from your ambush location.
Yeah. How many of them are there?
You can see
roughly?
there are 2 of them on the front gate, and then the gate closed, but I think you saw a couple at least on the other side while Dylan was being escorted in. Dylan's car is outside.
Yeah, then I think I will say hold tight.
Okay. I think you need to mark night vision goggles because, of course, it is dark out there. Dylan, what in the end then are you going to say that's going to get him outside to where Anton and Timothy are waiting, and where Mia, like a kind of van-borne missile, is heading?
I will tell him that they are setting a trap for him. I don't know exactly what, but I know where they are, so he can catch them before they set off the trap.
And immediately Vera goes to her phone and says, "Where are they now?"
And I will give her the agreed location.
"They're here," she said.
Yes, they are here. They are good. They have a lot of intel. They know about Unternehmen Brown and the things that happened with Philby and whatever that was.
And,
they know.
And that's
they
the
know
first
well.
time. That's the first time I think you see Throndal. His eyebrow goes up as if to exhibit some sense of. Then they got all of that data. Then.
Yes.
And she turns away from him and starts making a whispered call. Timothy, you're looking at this lot, aren't you? So let me have you roll to investigate using your surveillance to tell, so I can tell you what, if anything, you see happening. when you've heard Dylan having that conversation?
Yeah, I'm going to add the stress die as well. And that's the 6 on the stress die.
Stress goes up by 1 because what you see is the guys on the gate clearly get a message, and they disappear inside, and you see 2 of them appear on the walls of the hunting lodge. Yeah, so stress goes up by 1. You get that for nothing, but the 6 gives you 2 questions you could ask me, or you could ask me to reveal 2 things, and you don't even have to roll for stress. You just get the intel because stress already went up.
Yeah, intel, right.
What do you want to know about the defensive measures, perhaps, that Throndal's team has taken?
Sorry?
What do you want to know, say, about the defensive measures?
Do they seem to have any equipment beyond like night vision goggles and regular small arms?
I hope you ask, because that allows me to display my first complication, which is heavy weapons. Incoming. Existing antagonists have heavy weapons, so you can see that they are mounting squad automatic weapons on the wall. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can have another question to ask me if you'd like.
I'm open to suggestions from the other players.
Anton, you're in the same location-ish. Is there something else you want to know about what's going on?
It's hard to say because I don't know exactly where Dylan's going with this ruse of telling everyone what we're doing. So I'm sure there's a way to I'm sure that's going to twist and we're going to have a way to manipulate it, but I don't know how.
What I think is happening, and we'll ask Dylan in a minute, or ask Sabine about Dylan in a minute. I think what Sabine is saying is they are set up at point X. You could catch them there. Whereas in fact, you are located at point Y, where you have lines of fire and assault on point X.
Yeah, it's precisely the plan.
So she wants to try to get him to X, I think.
Yeah.
So he steps into your trap,
right,
while appearing to defeat a different trap. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Does that help?
Yeah. Then the question is, where can we get a great kill box on these goons as they, like to take out his support, basically?
Okay. Before they get to the ambush site or at the ambush site?
I think it would have to be at the ambush site, or we're going to tip them before they get to the ambush. That's what makes it the ambush site, right? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I think, okay, so you maneuver now, working on the assumption Dylan's got in, the conversation is going well. You can now move slightly from your best cover to a place where you're in cover, but with your lines of sight on the kill box.
And I imagine that, the patrols and things have been disrupted by this flurry of movement, right?
Exactly,
like
so.
Offering us a window to move to the point that was previously not available to us.
Not as easy to get to. I'm not going to ask you to roll those intrusions now. I'll do it when we get to the ambush to see whether you're actually in the cover you think you're in. Mia, still rumbling down the road, trying to time it right. What's your role, as far as you're concerned, in this developing ambush scenario, now that we've got a bit of a picture of it? When this van arrives in the village, what are you expected to do?
I think I'm expected to be obvious and look like this is the ambush. Like, it's a van of people. It's like, there's some crates and stuff, but there's like probably at 2 other people in here. They should be expecting Timothy and Anton. What they don't know is this van is wired to the gills with explosives.
Well, that's right. Okay. So Dylan, as far as you're concerned, the team must be getting into position now because you've given them the various keywords. So what's the final hook that is going to get him there? Because at the minute, it looks like Vera is organizing the paramilitary unit to first establish defensive systems, and then she says, should I deploy? So it looks like the simple defensive plan is send the paramilitaries to deal with these intruders.
Well, I will tell him that that will probably be a good way to get his paramilitaries killed. I've seen what one of them can do against multiple opponents. This is, I don't know if you have a heavy hitter here, but
And he looks at Vera, and Vera says,
and they know things. I'm pretty sure they know things. They were talking a lot about your lineage.
we could always evacuate, sir. It's clear that he doesn't see a pressing reason why he should go to location X. So what reason are you going to give him? Because you've sold him on the idea that there's a potential ambush, but what you haven't given him is a compelling reason why he shouldn't just sit here and wait for it to play out or run away.
Okay, yeah, if you have an idea, tell me, please.
Any thoughts?
Work on the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Send the van, which is wired with explosives, right at the gate.
That won't get him to
That won't
to
bring
go
him
to
out.
our that won't bring him out. No,
That
what
won't
we
get him
need
to
is something.
evacuate?
What we don't want him to evacuate. We want him to go to the ambush site and get into the kill box.
Yeah,
that's what we need to
the
give
thing
him.
you need.
Need to give him something that he really wants. So what we found in our in the Stasi files, right? Yeah, we didn't get anything that he really needed to have.
I mean, he unquestionably he would like the data back because it's out there in the world.
Yes,
it's
so I
dangerous
will-
for all the reasons that
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. There's one. How much can you trust all these people? That data
Yes.
is on them,
Mhm.
and one
Yeah,
of they have agents
that's-
in your
that's-
forces. Like
That's a good point. Yes, I will tell them that I mean, if he doesn't want the files back, they have from what I know, they have very personal information.
Are you saying that you think I will need to retrieve this myself?
No, you can leave that probably to your people. I'm pretty sure they're very stand-up people, will not lose anything of that.
Can I just be
Or-
clear? He's just asked you, should he go outside?
Yeah, I'm telling him that of course he shall, but I'm being a bit sarcastic here.
Oh, I see. I beg your
Like,
pardon. Okay,
yes.
okay, because he's
Yeah, it was
not
like,
taking
yes,
this.
sure, if you trust all of them perfectly not to mess this up or lose some of it or use it against you, because I'm pretty sure this organization might have people somewhere in your units.
And he looks to Vera, he says, how did they know where to come? And he turns back to you, and I think you will now need to persuade him.
Okay,
But that is what you are good at, Dylan.
that is what I'm good
Sorry, Carl. So
Carl.
you have expertise if it's available, and it is.
at.
The stress dice, if you'd like it.
I like it. I like the stress die. Come on. Oh wow, that's terrible. Can I use my?
terrible.
Can I use my?
Your
my
specialism.
specialty? Yes,
You can. You can
I
mark
will.
stress.
I will.
Mark stress. Mark your specialism, and turn that from a minimum outcome to a okay outcome. So
Yeah.
he's not. This isn't a special benefit. This is very well. And Vera says, sir, this is entirely against everything we talked about. And he says, yes, but this is different. These people got to the secure files. You told me that was impossible, Vera. And he gets up. He's made a decision. He's going to go outside. But he will go outside, obviously, with a phalanx of paramilitaries and Vera.
Yes.
So I think from your observation,
should I accompany him?
I think Vera is going to insist.
Oh, okay.
and she'll
Good.
make you walk in front of her as well.
Oh.
Um,
I give her a wounded look.
So, Timothy, from your position at point Y, where you have line of sight onto point X, which is the place where he thinks he can capture you, you will see the gates open, and you'll see a group of, a squad of these heavily armed paramilitaries kind of step out, and they're kind of night vision goggles. They're scanning the vicinity, and they move as quickly as they can to provide cover, so that when Throndal and Vera and Dylan arrive in a group with another squad of paramilitaries behind them. Oh yeah, I was going to ask what you were wearing on your head, Dylan.
I think it's a fedora. Kind of fits the whole noir narrative we're going for here, right? It's a
So
fedora.
Timothy, a squad of paramilitaries come out. They're followed by Throndal, Vera, and Dylan, and another squad of paramilitaries come out behind. And he's left a skeleton force to hold the gate. Yeah, and they are heading in as covert a way as possible. So the first squad arrives at point X. Mia, as I describe their arrival, you will have to make a judgment about if and when you intervene. Okay?
Got it.
So squad 1 deploys to cover point X, the kill box, because they think that's where you need to be, but you're over there. Throndal and Vera move very, very well. Anton, do you want to make a roll to investigate to see whether you can tell anything about Vera now you've got a decent look at her? You'll need to kind of mark night vision.
Okay. I'll mark night vision. It's 1.
And investigate. I think that for this, your deadly expertise is appropriate as making a judgment about this woman.
I got a 6.
You've got a 6. For a 6, I will tell you that she is very professional. You would not be surprised if she had deadly expertise as well. You have two more things you can ask me about her, but remember to mark intel for that 6.
Yes. I suppose. Does she have any particular weaknesses? Like.
I think it's easier by observing her movement for me to tell you something about her capabilities, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Because it's dark, I can't tell you she's avoiding sunlight. But sometimes when she hears something, she moves lightning fast. You would be amazed if she is not imbued with great speed. Your best guess is she's a thrall. She's
Okay.
the not very bright Dimitrova who was put into the military instead of learning magic.
Given some Seward serum.
She just enjoys drinking her master's blood. So yes, you would be amazed if she is not a thrall. She just moves with such assurance.
On that 6, do I roll for stress?
You get to ask me another question.
Oh, I do. Yes. I mean, about her.
I tell you what, I could tell you something about her weaknesses.
Yeah.
It's clear she's wearing a Kevlar front and back, heavy Kevlar. She's put on a composite flak jacket in effect.
Okay.
Which suggests she's worried about getting shot.
Well, that was going to be the solution anyways, but yes.
But does that help you with the weakness?
Don't shoot her.
No, I think she's worried that being shot matters.
Oh yeah. She's not resistant to being blown apart.
I think I can tell you she does not have the regenerate power.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then, you do indeed mark intel, but then roll for stress, because this might be someone who's on reasonably level terms with you.
I rolled a 1.
Then
Yeah.
Anton doesn't care.
No.
He's eaten these people for breakfast.
One thing I wanted to ask before we went
Go
a
on.
little bit further is, so our safe house is explosives and gadgets, isn't it?
It is.
I think I'm going to need I think I'm going to need I'm just debating whether I want an assault rifle or a light machine gun, because I've never used a light machine gun in one of these things before. I kind of like the light machine gun, perhaps. I mean, it's the same thing, right? So how would I go about getting that?
Okay, well, you're going to need to call on a contact then, aren't you?
Yes.
Now, the difficulty is that you cannot call on a fixer, which is the normal place to go.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you'll need to come up with some kind of fictional argument to convince me a different fixer is a good place to get a gun, a big gun.
A big gun.
I've got some suggestions for you.
I got a smuggler.
You've got a smuggler.
Yeah. A smuggler who can get things across borders. Olaf.
Olaf the smuggler.
Yeah. Although I probably will go back later and change that to Pavel's contact, who was the pilot, remember, who was our like A to B in so many places. Anyway,
I'm still not certain you won't need that pilot.
Yeah.
So mark another 3 gearboxes.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got heavy, so you know that's the only time you're probably ever going to have a 3-box piece of equipment.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's the only time I can declare one, right?
It is. So Dylan, you're out in the dark, and Vera and Throndal moves with incredible grace. And Vera, when she's not covering him, is kind of pushing you in the back, so that if he's going to be a target, so will you.
I will do my very best to not be a person who has night vision and is in a forest and stumbles into a lot of branches. I don't have night vision, and I'm not the
You're not going to pull it out of your inside pocket now. No, I get that. Okay, so yeah, it's very clear, and that's the other thing I think, Anton, I can tell you about Vera, is that she moves even in the dark really well. So either she has she's certainly got some inhuman senses. Yeah.
I will ask them for a light, actually, because, of course,
up,
we can.
She says.
Well,
you convinced my master. I do not trust you.
Yes, but I won't be. They don't see a damn thing out here.
She'll get a light out and just point it at your feet.
Thank you.
Again, Mia, when something develops, you tell me. Timothy, is there anything you want to do before the Team A has staked out the location from which Throndal is going to be able to ambush the intruders, right? Throndal, Vera, and Dylan are approaching it. The backup squad are behind them, covering the rear. What, if anything, do you want to do before Throndal gets to point X?
I think just get into position with a suitable weapon then, I guess.
What do you have in mind?
Well, if if Anton has the LMG, then I don't need to go quite that heavy, I think.
We can swap if that's what you had in mind.
No, that's perfectly fine.
There is so much more I could spend my gear on.
The fact is that because Timothy is medium loaded, he can't actually have had a 3-box piece of equipment. So it's the 1 or 2 box stuff that's available to you, Timothy.
Yeah, assault rifle, I think.
Okay. Mia rumbling towards the village. Captain Mia rumbling towards the village. Anything else before stuff happens?
Is there any way that we could have the van parked at site X, looking like maybe it's the staging area?
No, I don't think so, because I think that given the fictional position we've got, he thinks he's going to X in order to ambush someone. I think that they would have spotted a truck entering the village. So you need to arrive and do something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as I'm trundling down this road,
Mhm.
I think we set up I think we agreed upon a spot where I'd stop, pull over, tie the steering wheel in place, put a brick on the accelerator, and then put it in drive. So, you know, this truck seems like it's coming straight for the noted site.
Fine.
And I will
Fine.
do that now.
Okay. Okay. So Mia is, you know, a bit further away probably than Anton and Timothy. And suddenly out of the darkness, there's a kind of roar of engine as this truck, are the headlights on full beam?
Of course.
Okay, rumbles out of the darkness, and that's where we'll take our commercial break. Should we be back at our seats at 10 past the hour? Okay. So out of the darkness comes a van, Mia behind it somewhere, lights full on, very obvious to see. I think this probably comes down to how well aimed this is in the circumstances, Mia. So I'm going to give you technical as your expertise for this, because I think it's more like how you fixed it up than it is about driving it. So roll with expertise, stress dice if you'd like it.
Of course,
Do something else with it.
All right, see how this goes.
Well,
There's a 5.
5 on a stress dice, stress automatically goes up, but 5 is success. So there isn't a special benefit here. And I think the challenge we have is you are aiming at Throndal, I guess, because he's now at point X. That was the objective, wasn't it? Or was it the team?
My objective at this point is to, and basically what I'm doing is I'm sending down a decoy to attract the attention of the first squad.
Okay.
And so I'm sure they're going to, my plan is they'll open fire and then advance to make sure that they've got the kill, at which point I blow the van.
Okay. So this van charges towards Squad A, who are on point and just protecting Throndal's position. They begin to lay down fire on the truck. It runs into a tree, and that means it's close enough for you to press the button. Dylan, what do you do when you see this truck, this van careering out of the darkness? Oh, you are muted.
I'm thinking that's what I'm doing. Dylan isn't. I mean, Dylan knew what was going to happen there. And I think, yeah, what he's doing is you have to sell that, right? Because this can't have been, I think he'll do a confusing thing and turn to Vera and say something like, oh God, they made me. You got to protect me.
Let's see if your effort to attract Vera's attention and distract her attention is good. So that's with expertise, stress dice if you'd like it.
Let me see. No,
I think this is probably closest to maintain cover in terms of potential outcomes.
Okay. Yeah, use stress. Come on.
Oh, just as well you use stress.
Yeah.
So stress goes up by 1. You got 5. So your cover holds, or they don't find you. So she believes you.
Okay.
And because her reaction will have been to immediately aim to protect Throndal and ignore you, but you have drawn her attention. And she will say to you, are they in the truck?
I don't know. They're probably after me too now, and I'm a lot more vulnerable than you guys are.
And she speaks to her to her wrist and says, secure the van. Targets van. Target van. And Squad A moves towards the van. Mia, what happens when they get to the van?
I pull out a little, I'm holding a little remote in my hand. And when they get to the van and surround it, guns drawn, and drop that and pull that door open, just click. Yep.
Okay. So let's have you roll with expertise on this tech then, and you get to use the deadly dice because it's explosives we're playing with.
Yes, it is. And
So
it's several kilos. I
yeah,
mean, we're
yeah,
not
yeah.
talking
No,
about a small explosion.
This is enough to take out this squad. I'm not messing about here.
Yeah, this is enough to take out a lot of things. And there is a 4 on the stress die.
So stress goes up by 1, but it is the highest one, so it's a relief. The others would have failed. And so yeah, I'm going to take out Squad A. Squad A are gone. All hell has broken loose. I will go to Anton first, because you are deadly. What do you do, Anton?
I'm gonna take out I think the surviving PMC, because
Okay.
I have a light machine gun. It would seem the perfect tool to whittle down a large mob of goons.
Yeah. So
you know.
you're not going to try and put a lot of rounds into Vera then, as she
I
stands
think
next to Dylan.
with my light machine gun, I think that's a bit danger close. And
Fine.
also, I'm imagining that it's like I would take her if I could do, but she's just too fast. You know, because I have to choose a target mechanically, right? But not
Okay.
fiction.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay. So let's have you roll with this heavy machine gun. Your bonus, the deadly dice, counts. Stress dice if you want it. If this goes very well, you can take them all down. If it goes well, you'll take some of them. No, they don't. Then you're ambushing them. They're focused on Throndal and the explosion.
That's a 6 on the deadly deadly dice, yeah.
Oh, if only the deadly dice was worth even more, but the 6 is good enough. I'm going to let you take out Squad B.
Nice.
And suddenly Vera spins round because that's behind her. What do you do, Timothy?
I think I'm going to try to shoot Vera.
Oh, go for it. Go for it. So you have,
since I assume we whoever noticed the flak has informed the rest of us.
Yeah, because you've all got perfect comms. Yeah.
I'm going for a headshot.
Okay. Now a 6 will give you a headshot, but the way this works is that these named characters have a degree of plot armor, as well as in her case physical armor. So so you're rolling with expertise and the green stress dice if you want it.
Absolutely. I take the stress die on this. See, that's a 6.
Look at that 6 and not on the stress dice. So this goes perfectly. You are going to inflict 2 stress on Vera. For that, I'm assuming you want to do maximum damage. And I guess, Dylan, what do you do when, she's thrown backwards as a round just scars across her forehead?
Oh, wow.
What do you do? All hell is breaking loose.
Yeah, all hell is breaking loose. And it's me and her and Throndal, right? And
in the middle.
Else. I think
still calm center of the storm.
I think I will continue the con, though. I'm not shooting her because then Throndal will have made me and rip off my head. I don't want that. I will stagger. There was gunfire around, right? I will stagger. I will reach down, cut myself superficially with a knife so that there's a smell of blood, and say, "I'm hit. I'm hit."
I'll come to that because Anders has rightly pointed out that I mustn't get too excited and forget the rules. So mark intel for Timothy and then roll for stress, because the thing is that you really thought you had her dead to rights, and she just moved so quickly, just a fraction. It's like Anton's bullet time, only in reverse.
Yeah. So I roll the stress die and get a 6. so that's definitely more.
I'm guessing
stress.
that goes up. Yeah.
I got a 6 on my deadly dice as well,
Oh.
so I'll roll for stress as well. Just
Thank
for
you.
the sheer act of gunning down so many people.
Thank you for the reminder. And remember to
Do you
mark that
get-
intel.
I was going to say, do you get intel for
Yeah.
marking the 6?
Any
Yeah.
6, generally speaking.
And my stress goes up. Okay.
Dylan, you're continuing to sell the con. I'm not going to make you roll again for that. I think that there's enough going on that as long as you don't shoot somebody, they're going to probably ignore you. Mia, you've heard what's happening. What's Mia do next?
So by this point, I've advanced, but I made a couple of party favors that I want to toss in Throndal's general direction.
Okay.
UV grenades.
Okay. So, let's engage with weaponizing a deterrent. Love it. So, vulnerabilities. Sometimes it is useful to have the book in front of you.
Right. Even if you wrote the game.
So flashback to Mia tweaking some flashbang grenades
Yep.
to make them intensely ultraviolet.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. You could, that's certainly, I judge that as possible. So you will be rolling to do something else
Yes.
with the only relevant expertise being technical. Just as well you have it.
Right.
Okay. If you roll 1 to 3, it means that it works the first roll to take them out, but then you can't use this technique again. You only made enough for 1 shot.
All right. So
Okay.
I can roll the gray die, the expertise, stress, and since this is explosive, do I roll the
No,
explosive?
this is simply to see if it works at all.
Oh, so I only roll the 1 die.
You're rolling the gray dice, the orange dice for expertise, and you can include the stress dice in the flashback making these things.
Why wouldn't I include the stress die?
Well, you're on 4 stress is one reason.
Okay, there is a 3 on
Okay,
expertise.
but
Now, can specialism?
go on. Specialism. If you mark another stress, taking your stress to 5, you can mark the specialism and turn that 3 into a 4 to 5. On a 4 to 5, produces a weapon that works for the entire scene. So you have a stock. Tell me that's not worth 5 stress.
So it works once otherwise.
It works once. This is the only shot. You throw these grenades and that's it. That's all you manage to make.
But could I still have made other stuff?
Oh yeah,
Or-
it's just
okay.
the UV grenade idea is used up.
Well, considering that we knew that was a vulnerability, but not the extreme deterrent.
It will certainly act as a deterrent. And
Yeah,
depending on how you roll, I might actually have it cause some stress to him. Does
Okay,
that seem fair?
that's fair. This wasn't the big bang, if you'll excuse the pun. So I'm okay with I'm okay with only having these work the once,
Okay.
just to get his attention.
Okay. So you lob these at him, and they go off. I do want you now to roll to confront to work out whether this actually does any harm or simply acts as a deterrent.
Okay.
So
So
you are
that's-
rolling. You don't have. It's not small arms, is what I'm saying. So you're rolling to do something else. No, you're rolling to confront without expertise.
Without expertise.
Yeah.
Can I use the bonus or deadly die or the explosive
No,
die?
because this is about putting them on target. We know they're going to have an effect.
Okay, so it's just the expertise die,
Yeah.
or not the expertise die, but the gray die.
The gray die with the stress die if you want it.
I'm going to save that stress.
Oh, a
That's
3. Okay, so on a 3, you fail or control may offer you success at a cost. The cost is that Anton and Timothy's night vision bleaches.
Yeah, I'm
Anton
not
seems
gonna-
okay with that.
But all right, so if Timothy is okay with that, Anton, are you okay with that?
You know, no plan survives contact with the enemy.
I mean, I'm totally okay with it not working to preserve your night vision if you think that's
No.
important.
I think it's more interesting to have things not go entirely to plan, you know?
Okay. So
I kind of agree.
success at a cost it is. It blows their
Okay.
night vision.
So if you got a 6, you would have done some stress on him. But as it acts as a deterrent, and you see him cower away and retreat into the darkness when this goes off. Yeah. But he retreats towards the lodge, away from Dylan and Vera. So Throndal is now isolated relative to Vera and Dylan.
Can I follow him?
Well, in a moment, because you were distracting Vera, so this could happen. So let me go to Timothy first this time. What do you do?
Well, without night vision, I suppose I'll have to get closer.
Well,
That's,
remember that there is a burning van, so you have some light, but it's bad light, so you'll be working without expertise if you shoot at him now.
Oof. Yeah, I think he. Yeah, I will try to advance and lay down fire to keep them from getting away from Anton's machine gun, basically.
Okay, so you're rolling to move him into Anton's line of fire.
Or Vera is my main, because
Oh,
I think
okay, the
I
only
think
difference-
shooting, and I think
Okay,
shooting Throndal isn't. I suspect that's not going to do much.
okay. The advance and fire. Just know that Dylan is kneeling, is kind of over where Vera is, saying, "I've been hit. I've been hit." Just be aware of
Yeah.
that in case you miss. Okay, go for it.
I
So
knew the risks going in.
you are rolling without expertise, but you can have the stress dice if you want it. You're on 4 stress currently.
Definitely using the stress die. I have intel to spend to reduce if I need to. That's
look
a
at that,
6
6.
on
Stress
the stress
goes up.
die.
Add intel, but roll for stress because you're worried about Dylan.
Don't I get it automatically? The stress die.
Oh
was the
yeah, sorry,
highest.
the stress die is the highest. Yeah, up it goes. Beg your pardon. You get the intel, and it's a 6 on Vera, so it is another headshot. So you can apply 2 stress to her this time. Another 2 stress to her, and she spins around because she just heard it in time to stop it catching her between the eyes. Dylan, Vera stumbles away from you and probably drops to one knee. What do you do?
As much as I'd like to take her out, she's not our target. Throndal is. And Throndal is currently moving away, so we'll follow him because he's the best protector I got, right? Isn't he?
Okay, so you are following Throndal. Anton, you see Timothy, at least seriously put Vera down. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot Vera. Now
Okay.
that Dylan moves out of the line of fire, right? Vera is now in a good line of shot. So
Okay, let's have you roll with expertise if you have it, and stress die if you want it. And deadly, of course, always applies to you.
that's a 6 on the grey dice.
Well, that's okay then. So Vera Dimitrova, describe her demise if you want to, Anton.
I don't think it's anything spectacular. It's she dodges out of the way of that bullet, and you see Dylan back off, and maybe Tim Warrens fires another bullet, right, like shot at her, and she just blurs and she's gone, and then she smiles, right, and then just opens up, and you just see like that silhouette crumple as the tracer fire goes through. Yeah, do I roll for stress now because I rolled a 6. Mark
You
intel.
do, but
Yes.
remember to mark intel.
Yeah, and I think that stress, well, I do go up on stress. Can I immediately spend intel to lower the stress back down
Of course
again?
you can.
Yeah.
Once stress reaches 4, intel can be used to reduce it by 1. So
yes. And I think the stress was that, that flickered through his mind was purely, it kind of feels like he's already killed this woman.
okay. So Dylan, you're following Throndal. Timothy has just driven Vera away. Anton puts her down. Mia, you're closer to the action at the minute, but no one is worrying about you at the minute. There's incoming fire from one direction, and there's a burning van in the other direction, and lots of paramilitary contractor bodies.
I am running at least toward Throndal to get close enough to chuck my surprises.
Okay. So you're running after Throndal from a slightly different angle of attack than Dylan is.
And this time I'm chucking him behind him because I'm not necessarily looking to kill.
Okay.
But this is one of those things where I've gotten it into my head, maybe, just maybe, he could be an asset.
Okay.
But this is, to me, this is about showing him how screwed he is if he doesn't do this.
Fine. What is your surprise? If it's not another UV grenade, because that one's burned, but what's your next surprise?
Incendiary grenades.
Fine. So let's have you roll to construct. Well, look, the bottom line is, oh no, you can't call in a contact. Sorry, I'll shut up. I was going to say you could just procure incendiary grenades, but you had to.
You've
make
done
your
that
own.
twice now.
I know. So,
well, and honestly, these are a little bit beyond what I could have purchased. I mean, This is basically, I'm going to make a sheet of flame behind the dude. That's the intention.
Let's see. Let's see
how it works.
So
I'm rolling
all,
expertise and great.
You are.
All right.
Stress if you want it, but you are quite high up.
Yeah. And then I don't roll deadly or explosive yet, correct?
No.
All right.
Look
That's a 6.
The 6. This will work not only to the end of scene. Rolling a 6 means it works for all scenes and applies double the usual stress every time it's used successfully. So you have an unlimited supply of incendiary grenades which have double normal effect.
Okay, and I mark
this is a good device.
Hey, look, every once in a while I manage to make something. It's not all like water balloons filled with garlic water,
Yeah, anyone who's out there in television land who's read the rules knows where that came from now. So they work. Let's have you put it on target.
All right. And this is where I use explosive? No,
no, I don't think so, because you're looking to create an effect of flame here, aren't you?
Yeah. So since I rolled a 6, and I hate to ask this, I mark intel and roll for stress, correct?
You do.
All right.
And if you're lucky, you might come out ahead.
Okay, I rolled a 4.
You do come out ahead.
All right, let's put this grenade on target.
Let's do that thing.
There's a 3.
Okay, so it misses where you'd like to put it, or you succeed at a cost. The cost is that it will put Dylan and Throndal in the same location with flame as an issue. Oh yeah, look, Dylan's
saying do it. I mean, I figure that this will actually just improve Dylan's cover because it makes him look like he's more of a target.
And it makes it sound like they are after him. So just tell me where do you want to drive Throndal to? Do you want to drive him back towards the lodge or back towards the ambush site?
Good question. I'm thinking ambush site. What do you all think?
Okay, so back towards the ambush site. Anton and Timothy, your night vision is now back in. Sorry, I missed that, Puckett.
I was just checking in with Timothy to see if that was that.
Okay.
But yeah, he's illuminated by flames now.
He is, and cowering away from them. Dylan, you are with Throndal as he kind of cowers from the frame, and he's conscious there's a burning van over there.
Do I have any idea where Anton is at that point of moment?
The fire is coming from the trees over there.
I mean, we have comms.
Oh, you,
yeah.
Of course. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what
You
I want
cinematically know exactly where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I will turn him to look the other way so that Anton can ambush him from the back. And I will say, "Come with me. Come with me. I think I know. I know a thing. Come with me." I'm babbling basically. I'm not really totally playing panic because wow, this is a lot anyway. But I need him to go there.
Persuade him to come to you rather than turn into a flight of bats. That's where we're at right now.
Yes, that's a good idea, and I will use my stress die.
You don't say.
I've got 1 point of intel, so might work out. It does a 5. Stress die is not a problem.
So you have bought some time. He hasn't put aside the idea of simply flying into the night.
No.
But he appears to be the flames. He's maybe a bit disorientated, and so where are you leading him?
Nowhere specifically, but so I'm leading him so that his back is turned towards Anton.
So you're leading him towards Anton and then arranging for Anton to be behind him.
Basically.
Now you'd have got all of that with a 6, but I think Anton, I need you to roll to put yourself in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What would that be?
I think that's probably going to be maintain your cover. No, I think maintain your cover.
Yeah, maintain
your
cover.
Remain hidden.
Yeah. I don't have expertise, so I
think I would count deadly for that actually. Okay. You know, sneaking up and killing people. Kind of what deadly means.
Yeah, it's easier to kill people when they don't see you coming.
Exactly. Sure. But that's deadly, not expertise, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. But but
it doesn't
make
make
dice anyways. Yeah. So I got 5/5 anyways. So
okay, so you are in position. Throndal, that burning kerosene, flames, his inhuman senses are clearly disorientated by all of this. The deterrent effect is having some effect on him. Timothy, what do you do before I ask Anton what he's going to do?
Oof. I think I will lay down some fire, mostly to keep Throndal disoriented and unsure of what's going on.
Fine. I'm not going to make you roll for that. I think you can fire in the vicinity of him to give him the impression that there's still a lot of, fire, move. Anton.
I mean, I think now is a good time to declare some stakes, right? Seems like the done thing.
It does.
So I will declare stakes, several intimates, 2 more boxes. And I'm imagining this as like, Throndal, like nostrils flaring, like eyes, all hissing, and like the smoke and the sound and the gunfire, and then him like hissing away, and then as he's like turns around, like his cloak, Anton's silhouette is just behind his shoulder, as Dylan's babbling carries on in the background, and Throndal's like not knowing what's going on. Okay, so
I just want to offer you the opportunity to declare vulnerability double tap.
Ooh. Okay, that'd be 1 intel, wouldn't it?
That would be 1 intel, because currently you have precise strike heart and green oak leaf. If I put double tap up, that means you can combine those 2 for more effect.
Mm-hmm.
In killing him, not in the initial kind of drive his stress down, but it'll mean you can aim to kill him quicker.
This to me doesn't, even though I want to try it, it doesn't feel to me like a good part for Harness the Dark, as a move.
Fine.
Done. So I will take my expertise, bonus deadly, right? And how many risk die do I roll? Given that I have resist.
Yes, you do, and we need to count those in. So normally Throndal would step up with 4 risk dice. Okay.
Just be 3.
It's 3 at the minute. I think if you
equals-
caught him when the explosion went off, when the fire actually happened, you might have got another one for that deterrent. But I think probably he's acclimatized to that by the
Mhm.
time Dylan leads him where you need to have him.
Yes, so I will include my stress dice because I'm conscious that I don't have any space for armor. And oof, that's a 6 on the on one of the risk dice, but it's also a 6 on the deadly dice.
So you're dancing around him. You're kind of fretted. He's becoming more disorientated. The 2 of his plot armor has been used up. The
Oh, I mean,
three-
I gotta get him right, but he must move at the last moment, kind of thing. And it
Exactly.
just spears him like, and then we're locked in a wrestling sort of like, bloody
Exactly
fight to the
so.
death.
Exactly so.
Roll
Mia.
for- Do I not roll for consequences?
Oh, sorry. Oh no, you rolled 3s on the wrist die.
No, I rolled a 6 on the third wrist die.
Oh, so you did. So you did.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. Yes, you do. Let's
I mean,
see if
if
he
you-
throws you across the courtyard outside.
Okay, so I just roll a d6, right?
You do. 4.
4.
-1 if they're supernatural. 3. They're serious. Tell control if it's mortal. Fill your stress track and crack. It's bloody. You'll die after 1 more action without medical treatment. It's painful. You cannot use your expertise until you get medical treatment.
It's painful. I cannot use medical. I cannot use my expertise until I use medical to get medical
Okay.
treatment.
Okay. Let me go to Mia. I think I was curious.
So quick question.
Mhm.
Do we want to try to turn this dude into an asset? Pointing out how close he is to death, or we just want to kill him?
I don't want to kill him at this point.
I think finding space in this to have the conversation before he tears your head off is going to be the challenge.
Okay. So in that case, is anyone on top of him or otherwise near him?
Anton is intimately engaged with him.
I mean, the harm could be cinematically thrown a fictional distance away, but I am close enough. You know what I mean? Like for a bomb or something, I would say,
Yeah.
probably.
I was going to use, the incendiary grenades, which
I
we
think
know
that
are really effective.
Anton can only use those stakes at intimate, so that he's up close and personal. They are a whirling melee.
By all means, throw a incendiary grenade at me. I mean, honestly,
You sure?
go for it.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
I will.
Can I just be clear? Area effect will hit them both. It doesn't matter what the role is. You are intimately engaged. It's
Yeah.
an area effect. I just want to be clear about the stakes
No,
here.
I know what the stakes are, but if Puckett wants to do that, then by all means, like I'm not.
This is why I'm checking with Timothy. It's like, would Timothy have basically yelled, throw the grenades, or, hey, don't hurt me?
Ooh, practicality or faith, Timothy?
You mean Timothy or Anton?
Well, actually, Anton, my bad.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have yelled throw the grenades, to be honest, at this point.
And to be honest, I think the moment has passed. Let me go to Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan, you are next closest to Throndal.
Yeah,
What, if anything, do you do?
I mean, there's fire all around us, right?
Well,
So
Timothy is just continuing to fire to provide disconcerting.
No, I mean fire, like
Oh, fire! Yeah,
the burning stuff, because
yeah,
there is an center. I imagine it's not that hard to get a stick, a burning stick, and just light the Throndal's clothing on fire. I don't have incendiary grenades, but I feel that maybe it's not a good idea with Anton being so close, but I
Okay.
think Anton can get away. Well, Throndal's burning.
I'm imagining you picking up a burning branch and attacking him with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to sneak up actually, because
Yeah,
his
but
attention
there's a
should
whirling melee.
be. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So confront him with a burning branch.
Yes.
Expertise counts. Stress
Yes.
die if you want it.
I do want it. Yes. And do I do risk dice?
I don't think so. First
Okay.
time, his focus is on Anton.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's good. So let's see where that goes. Well, yes, that gives me a 5 on the expertise die, and
I
stress
will
is not a problem.
I will erode some of his plot armor. If
Cute.
you got a 6, I might have given you the benefit of setting something alight. And I think at this point, I think the fire disorientated him, the attack has disorientated him. I think he's about to go bat, because this is dangerous. You know, he's surrounded by deterrents. So I just want to give you that heads up. Anton, you could attack him without him defending while he transforms, or have you got something else in mind?
I think this is a good use of the harness the darkness move.
Okay.
To bind him. I think, and I think I'm binding him by the blood that's on the stake that I hold in my hand. I look at him and I ram it into the ground, and I shout some words over it. You know.
Okay. Okay. So the beneficiary is you, but the target is him. And this is do something else, bind him. It either gives you temporary, well, you've got that. If you already have lore expertise, it gives you access to the bonus die.
But I don't have, I can't use my expertise because I'm injured.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I will roll 2 dice. I will include my stress dice.
Yeah.
Am I rolling any risk dice? No, because he's not doing it.
He's not doing anything. I think you have this opportunity in this kind of slight pause. He's about to transform. You're going to try and bind him. There's a kind of just pause in the whirl of battle.
That's a 6 on the expertise dice.
Oh my goodness me. Will you look at that? So he is bound. It goes particularly well. Gain intel. You've learned something about vampires. You will have to roll for stress.
That stays the same. Thanks
fine.
to marking stress for using the darkness.
What's the bonus effect you want?
The bonus effect that I want is that it takes away his great speed as well.
Okay.
You know, he is bound. He tries to turn into the bats, and like he just convulses, and then like turns around like bleeding from his mouth and his nose, and then tries to move. Now you can see that he's sluggish, right? Like something's drawing him to the spot where I ram the stake in.
Yeah, he is bound to this area. I love that, which is why he slowed down. Gorgeous. Timothy, you see Throndal, he's at bay. There's fire behind him. There's fire from the van over there. Anton has just jammed this stake into the ground and bound him in place to this area. What do you do?
I run at him and try to tackle him into the fire.
Oh, yes, do that thing, Father Timothy. Roll with expertise if you have it, stress die if you want it. This time, though, you will have to roll those 4 risk die because, when you hit him, he might do something to you.
Yeah, so the risk dice, how does that work?
Okay, so you'll see they get more and more red as you go to the right.
Yeah.
Start on the left-hand side and highlight 4 of them.
Okay.
And then roll them all together along with yours. 3 of yours, 4 of his. Oh no, hang on. You have resist. Only roll 3 risk die.
Well, I had already rolled, but the 4th one was a 2, so it doesn't
really matter. So that looks like, read that back for me.
The stress is the highest at 5. Everything is 1s, 2s, or 3s.
So you succeed. You push him into the flame.
And I take stress, not surprising me.
Yeah, exactly. Stress as you push him and roll to one side to avoid the flame. He is in the flame. He is now a fire. I am going to apply 2 more points to his plot armor. He is getting, I will tell you when he's within striking distance of a kill, right? Mia, what do you do? Timothy has pushed Throndal into the flame and he stands up and he's burning.
So I jerry-rigged something else back. Building on the idea of the crossbow.
Okay.
I mean, it's not quite duct taped together on top of each other, but it is.
Before you get carried, I just need to make sure I've kept up with your gear position before you.
Yeah.
So you've had 2 sets of grenades. Fine, that's all. Go ahead. And I am taking that heavy away because I don't think you've behaved like someone who's got an enormous backpack.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm dropping you to medium, but that gives you 3 gear slots left. So what? Tell me the plan.
Crossbow.
Okay.
Except it's a multi-bolt crossbow that I rigged to fire multiple bolts simultaneously. So do I need to flash back to that preparation?
You do.
Okay.
Mia building a crossbow. It'll take up 2 gear slots, by the way.
All right. So gray, expertise, and stress.
If that's what you want to do. Stress is currently
6 on
4.
expertise.
Oh, the crossbow is reloadable. So you have a working crossbow, and and also remember as many incendiaries as you want. So,
Yep.
What do you do with the crossbow, Mia?
I'm just going to open fire.
Okay, and these are great green oak, I guess.
Of course.
Okay,
I mean,
so let's have
we know
you-
that's his weakness.
Okay, so roll with firearms expertise, for want of a better one. Stress
Okay.
dice if you want it. No risk die because he's far away from you and otherwise occupied.
All right. So gray, expertise, stress. Is this deadly?
No.
Okay. That's a 3.
Oh, so this is fail. And I have to say on this occasion, I'm not inclined to offer you an alternative. So I think the first shot is getting your eye in, and you put a kind of spray of 3 stakes. Oh, Anton?
No, just
Does
saying that he
specialism
catches
count?
it in his hand, you know, like no, through his hand, like, but just not the heart, you know.
Yeah, he may not be able to run away from this location, but he could
Does
be quick
specialism
in
count for
sight.
this?
No, that would have counted to make it better,
Okay.
but not use
Got
it
it.
better.
Okay.
Dylan, you've still got your burning torch.
Mhm.
Mia has created an at distance pitchfork. What are you doing?
Okay, distance pitchforks. Not yet. Yeah, I'm not hit by any pitchforky thingies. That's nice.
No, none of these stakes come to you.
See, but he's burning, right?
He is.
Already. Okay, so burning him more is probably not a thing. And I can't really hasten the sunrise, I don't think. I mean,
Not
shooting
unless
him
you've been hiding an expertise I don't know about.
you know, my sun god expertise, you mean? No. Anyways, let me just check what else we could do.
I tell you what,
precise
while
strike
you're
heart.
thinking about it,
Well,
I'm going to go.
No, shoot him. I'll
Oh,
shoot
go,
him through
okay.
the heart because precise strikes to the heart will work.
Might work. So
might
shoot
work,
him.
right?
Right.
I'm shooting him.
Roll with handgun expertise. Stress dice
Yes.
if you want it.
Definitely want
I
it.
think there is a chance that he stumbles towards you. So I want you to roll 1 risk dice.
Okay, that's fair. Let's go. Wow, 6
Ooh,
on
I'll
the
take
risk dice
that.
and the rest is bullshit.
You
so,
you
yeah.
miss him, but he gets to you. So roll a
Oh.
d6 minus
Mhm.
1 for the consequence to you as he stumbles towards you.
D6 minus 1, okay. So 2, so
1, mortal, bloody, or painful. Die.
painful. I don't want to
Painful.
die.
Okay.
Painful's fine.
Mark expertise is unavailable.
Yeah.
Anton, you've held him in place. He's burning. Timothy has charged and is on the ground over there, yet to get up. Mia is at a distance with her crossbow. What are you going to do, Anton?
I am now gonna harness the darkness to finally dispatch Throndal. And I think it's going to be a case of ripping that stake out of the ground as he burns, right? And there's like a sort of sickening lurch just in the air as I do, and then I hold it in the flames, lift it above my head, and strike at Throndal as he lunges, as he stands above Dylan, you know.
Okay.
So to mark
because
stress.
I was about to tell you that you are 2 stress away from being able to put him down, so the double tap would work at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do all of that with a
Fine.
thing, basically. So just to see what that roll is like, you know.
Okay.
I'm spending intel to lower my stress at the same time because I know that this is going to work. So I've marked the stress already for it and then removed it immediately.
Okay.
I roll. Do I roll with expertise in this case?
You roll with expertise.
Oh, but I haven't. No, I can't roll with expertise because I don't have the expertise.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're just rolling with the deadly dice if your expertise isn't available.
Uh-huh.
If you already have the deadly dice available, and you do, then you are going to reduce the risk of harm from him by another 1. So you're only rolling 2 risk die.
2, and I will include my stress, so it's 3v3 at this point. Only 2 stress.
2,
risk.
yeah,
Okay.
because your resist takes 1 away, and
of course,
the benefit, you've already got the deadly dice, so the next benefit of the dark is you reduce his...
And that's a 6 on the stress dice. So stress goes up as, you know, flaming green oak stake linked to his heart, to his blood, explodes into his chest. Yeah.
Mia, do you want to walk into the circle of burning vampire light?
Oh yeah, I'm just going to put the boot to him. Just kick his burning corpse a couple of times.
As you kick him over, he looks up at you, and he says, you look down on him, he looks up and he says, you fools, you damn fools. She'll win. She will. She'll win. Roll credits. Do we have time for a swift stars? I'm conscious I'm very close to time, but do we have time for a swift stars and wishes? Let's start, because this is your game. This is your Kickstarter reward, Sabine, in theory. So any stars, any roses and thorns, actually, at this point of proceedings, isn't it?
I will just do stars and things.
Fine.
Stars, roses and stars. How about that? So yeah, stars to all of you. This was a lot of fun. I liked Timothy getting drunk in that bar. That was interesting, and I liked Anton going to a priest like Timothy, and the conversation they had. That was also good fun. And I also like going to a bar with Mia and doing the classic. Guy who, well, let's not talk about what that means for our psychological. We need a therapist. That's all I'm saying. We need a therapist. And big stars to the end fight with Throndal. That was a lot of fun. There was a lot of carnage. That was, wow. Yeah, that was great. I loved it.
I have to say that was a very enjoyable boss fight. Any thorns?
Tiny thorn, but that's a self thorn to me. I didn't get Throndal to sell. Didn't get to sell Throndal a hat. I regret that. I regret that I didn't offer that. I should have. But well.
Oh, you have to take the hat off and just drop it on the burning corpse.
It's not.
Or would you not sacrifice a hat? No, sorry, too sacred.
First of all, no. Second of all, I imagine it fell off during the fight at some point.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Will, any roses? Any thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that we drove a van full of explosives at people. That's a great thing to do all the time. I enjoyed the chaos of the fight, using all the heavy equipment and all of that. Enjoyed the series. I enjoyed playing a different character, having a different dynamic and all of that. I enjoyed having a con man like part of the group. And
worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, and a woman in a van is always worth having along, even when that van is filled with explosives and coming at you at high speed. It was good. I think that the newest version of Harness to Darkness could work, I guess. Like, I'm not sure. But it seemed to work anyways then for the 2 roles that we used it on, right? So yeah, I enjoyed playing that kind of character as well as like being able to negate like the superpowers of vampires. Otherwise I was like, I don't know, we have a net, we fight him indoors. You know, those are the 2 options basically. Yeah.
Yeah, if you hadn't been in the team, I might well have not had him shape change a bats.
It's a hard one to get around, isn't it, really?
It is. But that's why I thought it was an interesting one to have it on the table. Thank you for that. Any thorns?
No, I mean, No, I'm not sure whether the occult move, I don't know if I've played enough of it to know whether it fully works yet or not. You know what I mean? In wider circumstances as well than directly taking on an elder vampire, which, you know, but yeah, that's more of a sort of like, I need to think about it more, I think.
Yeah, I mean, because what I'm trying to envisage circumstances where you could use it to investigate. So you could, you know, the idea of scrying what's inside a building and stuff. Because
I kept thinking of doing things like making the enemies see different things or stuff like that, but it felt like it would step on, because other people manage that sort of aspect of it, you know. So it was, but it seemed as though there was a lot of possibility. So it'd be interesting to play that, you know.
That's the objective.
Yeah.
It didn't feel overly powerful. It did certain very specific things. I'm feeling quite good about it at the minute. Anders, what about you? Any stars? Any roses? Any thorns?
Yeah, I agree with what was said before about the scenes and the final fight. Maybe a tiny thorn is that it felt like Throndal and Vera weren't doing much in the fight. They weren't very active, I guess. It was mostly our roles, and then sometimes something happened as a result of that, but they weren't really doing anything by themselves.
It's a fair point.
On the other hand, it was a very satisfying fight, so I'm not complaining about the end result.
No, I think if you hadn't had Dylan, or if Dylan had failed on some of those distraction rolls, then that I mean, Dylan killed Vera, really. You know, just by holding her in place for long enough. So I think that's probably that was Dylan doing what Dylan does, I think. Anyway, Puckett, any roses, any thorns?
This has been so much fun. It's really been something to look forward to on Tuesdays. Sabine, thanks for backing at this level. So we all got this fantastic game. It's always fun to play with Dylan and get into trouble with Dylan. And as I said in side chat, I think it's at least the second, possibly the third time that Dylan and Mia have gone to a bar and wound up in a fight after trying to pick people up, and it either went too well or not well enough. So that's always fun. Will, it was so much fun to watch Anton just absolutely go to town. It's like, scared, oh, that dude. Like, I mean, sure, you got in the way of the incendiary grenades, but you know, you killed him. That's the important thing. And then, Anders, I always enjoy playing with you. Timothy was a delightfully frustrating character, because here's all this logic, here's all the reason, here's all the science and everything we know. Timothy, is that a bird? You know, just wandering off in the pursuit of what your faith tells you to. And where I say, dude, the plan, stick plan. And it worked out. So it was a lot of fun to see that play out. My only regret is that it would have been nice to have Timothy go out and get drunk with us. But, you know, I don't know, he might have objected to the way we wound up doing it. So anyway, and Alan, like I said before, it's such a pleasure to see what this game became and what it is now that it's been released. And I'm sure what it's going to turn into as, you know, you come up with more ideas and put more widgets and gadgets and classes and such into it. So this is just fantastic. I really love this. Thank you all.
Further against the dark conspiracy. For me, it was lovely to have, I loved the way, Anders, that Timothy played to the faith. I loved the fact that he went to find a bishop. You know, he's a defrog priest, but when push comes to shove, there's always a bishop. I love that. And I love the way that, and then at the end, you know, he charges the vampire. You know, that's spot on. I love that. Will, thank you for being flexible in the way we've been playtesting Harness the Dark. I appreciated that. And also for coming up, because I think it will do anything you wanted to do. And you came up with some really interesting ways to just narrate it. you know, the mechanics is one thing, but it's the narration that matters. So we had bullet time in the second operation. This time we had, I will pin this vampire to the ground with a stake. Even though I don't hit him with the stake immediately, I just pin him in place. And that visualization and the idea of he therefore can't move, that's why I gave you the great speed goes as well, because it seems to me that that was just lovely bit of narrative description. Always lovely, Sabine, to be in a game with Dylan. You know, but I thought he really came into his own today, because he was really Johnny on the spot. We see Dylan getting the team into places. We see Dylan kind of causing a bit of distraction over there. But today, the reason Throndal did not run is Dylan. And as I say, the reason that Vera is dead is because of Dylan. Those kind of, oh, I'm hit, and just a distraction. That's the perfect use of persuade, I think. And Scott, likewise, you know, Mia, always a joy, always bad-tempered. And again, really nice to see, you know, that's the first time that I've used the build a weaponized deterrent. And we got to use it 3 times. And on 2 occasions, it was much too effective, I need to tell you. So thank you for that. Thorns, I don't have any for folks. You know, I thought I really enjoyed running that for you, and it's been a joy. And we've also fleshed out the conspiracy board well. That, can I just say, that's the other thing, is that though I kept trying to focus you on reveal a power, for God's sake, you know, you need to know you can turn into bats. You've stuck to your guns of wanting some of the background, and that's given the setting another bit of richness. So that's brilliant. Anyway, if we are past time, I will thank you. I will stop the recording there.